be fun to. Okay, great, thanks.
Sure. Hey, everyone, and welcome to our first ever Impact Speed Date with Impactoverse. Today, we're going to be covering recession-proofing your brand. And for those of you out there who are in typical sales roles, it's probably not what you think. Very, very excited to be here looking at supporting many of you who are impact focused to just be able to do more and scale impact. I'm Nolene Mariappan, founder of Impactoverse, and joined by the incredible Kayla Philo, co-founder, who will tell you a little bit more about herself. And we also have Harry, who's on the line as well with us, and very, very happy to have you here. So I will pass over to you, Kayla.
Great, thanks so much, Nolene. Yes, I'm Kayla Philo, co-founder of Impactoverse, and working on the marketing for our amazing Big Bang platform. You're at a big bang moment where we start small and we're going to get really huge. So thanks for tuning in. As more people come in, we'll just let them in, and if we have time later, they can introduce themselves. But I've been working in the impact space for years as an advocate and some professionally as well, and met Nolene through that mutual interest, and also Gary. So Gary, you want to just say real quick, introduce yourself and what you've been working on, because it's amazing.
Real quickly, I'm a founder, CEO, executive director, whatever, I'm the only person leading.
All the hats.
All the hats. For 17 years, an organization called Team FX. It's a social enterprise that our function is training beginning or hopeful athletes to train for endurance events, walking or running, 10K, half marathon, full marathon. And in the process, we are engaging people in the community to learn about the plight of child abuse and neglect in the area. And so we raise awareness and funds for a local shelter that helps these kids who are our neighbors. And so it's a full-on organization that lifts everyone up in the community.
That's wonderful.
And
wonderful.
Can I ask you to say how much you've raised over the years? Because it's really a testament to the power of one person just showing up every single day to this.
We're right at $730,000 over the years, here and there, little bits, many little bits mean a lot.
Absolutely. The power of individual support and impact. Every person can make such a huge difference, and absolutely Gary is testament to that. So awesome to connect with you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, also the impact of the people that have gotten off the couch, gotten to their first mile, their 26th mile, their second year, whatever. So anyway, thank you for showing up today. It's a great example of, a specific impact, right? Okay, so in the process of brainstorming and redoing the research for Impactoverse, I came across several threads of research that I had not seen anyone else pulling together. And it was very gratifying because it was, Nolene and I both had this intuition about the need out there, and but we wanted to talk about something solid and that was research backed by the blue chip consulting firms, and that is exactly what I found. So we're going to quickly go through some slides today, and all of these are research backed, and I'll share links with you if you're interested in going and reading the blog posts that have the links and finding the actual sources. And then we can do a quick Q&A at the end. Does that sound good?
Great.
Okay, I'll share my screen and hopefully this will work. Zoom has changed a little bit since I last used it. So, okay, can you see this slide, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So that's us. And we just introduced ourselves, so we can move on. So let me see. There we go. All right, so the latest research on consumers and business performance shows that we are finally in an era where business for good is good for business. Nolene and I have both been watching this space for a long time, Gary as well. And, cheering it on even back about 20, 30 years ago when cause marketing was, kind of a nice thing to do and brands might consider it. But what we're seeing today on the planet is that consumers get it now. They are asking brands what they stand for. And this has only increased since COVID-19, as you might imagine. But they're asking brands, what do you stand for? And what are you doing to help save the planet? Because governments are not doing it. So here's one little statistic from Deloitte. Up to 87% of consumers say they would purchase a product from a company that stood up or advocated for an issue they care about. So this speaks to values and shared values, and we'll touch on that in a little bit too. But that's one of the kind of words I want you to keep in your mind is, shared values around this. So these are the points in a nutshell, and then we'll go over a few more slides about each point, and then we'll be done. So consumers want to know where brands stand. I just kind of covered that. They don't trust governments or institutions. There's a trust void in the marketplace. I think we're all seeing that, and it's pretty much global. The interesting thing is they already feel like they have relationships with brands, and I think this is part of the power of social marketing and the social media, is that brands have been showing up more as like with a personality. And brands with shared values build trust, and we can fill the trust void. So that's one connection I want you to remember. Consumers feel like they have relationships with the brands, and brands can fill that trust void that exists because they're not trusting government institutions as much as they used to. How do we build emotional connection? Again, shared values. Gary, I think you've experienced this in your experiences with your tribe and your community. Mm-hmm. So emotional connection builds brand loyalty, and that equals higher customer lifetime value. CLV is a metric that a lot of companies keep track of. It's basically how much will a customer spend with you over the time that they are engaged with your brand. And cause marketing is the most powerful way to build emotional connection, trust, and loyalty. So cause marketing is when a brand that may not have impact baked into their DNA, like Tom's Shoes has impact baked into their DNA. Another, Nike doesn't necessarily, but they run a ton of marketing, and they also do some cause marketing that uplifts a organization that's whole model is around making a change in the world. So cause marketing is basically collaborating with a nonprofit or a charity. So here's our next point. So consumers want to know where you stand. This is for brands. So more than half of consumers will factor in your stance on social or environmental issues when they make purchases. And at the same time, people are looking for authentic connections. And more than half of consumers feel they already have a relationship with a brand. So the opportunity there is, where are the people in your audience that feel like they already are connected to you? How can you impact, increase that connection it would be by being more explicit about your stances on social or environmental issues. And these are the links here. Obviously you can't click through right now, but I can share all this later. The links to the studies. One is by Trustpilot, the other one is from Deloitte Digital. Okay, let's talk about the trust void, even though it's not the most fun place to play. Okay, public trust in government in the United States. So this is obviously a downward trend over the years. It has a lot to do with many issues we don't have time to get into today because it's a speed date. But if you accept the premise that we have a trust void, and this chart is from the Pew Research Center, which is, blue chip resource. This is another interesting company. Edelman has been running a trust barometer for, I think, at least 10 years, and they're a 25-year-old communications firm. So super credible. This was their findings last year, saying that basically every single issue, by a huge margin, people want more business engagement. And it's not around, some vacuous benefit of their brand. It's around climate change. It's around these social issues. 52% say business is not doing enough. So Edelman says the role and expectation for business has never been clearer. Business must recognize that its societal role is here to stay. So let's talk about the link between emotion, values, and trust. Now, this is something that intuitively makes sense. So it's just fun, especially if you are going to be reaching out to brands to collaborate or reaching out to your community to have, like, you know, our left brain wants to know. So our left brain's always the one saying, so how do you know that? To the right brain. So this is an opportunity to satisfy both those sides. So in 2019, Deloitte Digital, this is a great PDF to download. They found that emotional factors inspire brand loyalty. That makes sense. Impact campaigns drive or cause marketing, drive customer loyalty by building trust over shared values. And when you give people a chance to live their values, you create a very powerful emotional tie. And Gary, I'm sure you've seen this, you know, even just in your practice, the runs that you have with your community, even just in the leading up to the marathon, you're giving them a space to live out their values. And that is, it's really difficult to overstate how powerful that is. Donald Trump's followers are a stark, if controversial, example on the other side of what Gary is working on. But in the politics in general, you can really see them play this out, that politicians are marketing themselves based on values. David Allison's Value Graphics company is really interesting. He's pretty active on LinkedIn, so please follow him if you're interested in this. And he doesn't even know I'm talking about him, so it's not like I'm getting paid to promote David. I just think his work is amazing. He posts regularly to LinkedIn, and the algorithm doesn't really give him the credit he deserves, so here I am.
Right.
Yeah, and the interesting about his research is it shows that demographic research demographics as the basis for marketing over the last few years is really kind of dated. And I think that's only going to increase as the large platforms are moving away from third-party data, cookies, all that, into this more, we have to figure out a better way to target people, and values is one of them. Okay, emotion drives profits. This is the part that the brands like to see and hear. So Motista has this really interesting report from a couple of years ago that was pretty compelling. That people with emotional ties, they'll spend up to 2 times more with you. The new customers, if you keep them engaged and interested, will spend up to 7 times more with you than they might with a brand they're not as engaged with. And they will stay with your brand for up to 5 years. This is huge because, again, customer lifetime values, McKinsey has done a study that shows that customer lifetime values is actually one of the key metrics for long-term profitability. And this is a broad statement. I don't really know exactly, you know, what brands they might have been talking about, but anyway, it's getting at the point that they'll spend, you know, 2 to 3x more with you in the first year, and 300% higher CLV. Also, customers that are emotionally connected to your brand tend to talk you up, and word of mouth online right now is well, it has been for a long time, but especially with the rise of Gen Z and TikTok, they so much more trust another person, a peer, than they do any kind of ad that they might see. So word of mouth is huge. Mm-hmm. So here's our brand opportunity. We're still working out how do we pull all this together in a really clear way with a, you know, like an equation almost. So this may, you know, it's a work in progress, but brand opportunity. So campaigns with causes that prove impact will build connection, trust, emotion, and brand loyalty, and that will equal a higher customer lifetime value for your brand. And the way that you run these campaigns is by leveraging shared values. So to simplify it, customer loyalty leads to higher retention and less churn, which leads to higher profits. And you could possibly just simplify your sales funnel and your life and say, our goal is to build trust with customers using shared values. And doesn't that just feel good anyway? So this is just kind of another way for different visuals to kind of pull this together. Values matter, focus on building trust, connection-based loyalty, and transparency and community. So transparency, we didn't get into a lot in the previous slides, but transparency is super important because that's where you're going to reaffirm that long-term trust. That's where you're going to build that longer-term connection, is by being transparent. Again, especially in today's marketplace where there really is no place to hide. So you might as well be transparent anyway. So those are the kind of the bigger strategic questions. And with Impactoverse, we're not going to talk about this today, but what we're building with Impactoverse is an ecosystem that also includes a platform to use these Web3 tools in a very audience-friendly way. And we will be covering more of those in upcoming Impact Speed dates. Like we're going to talk about NFTs in a non-drama, non-hyped way. What are NFTs and how could they help bring the mainstream customer in? And also this is a pretty long blog post that you can download, Marketing's Evolving Landscape, Web 2 to 3. And it's on our blog on Medium. So if you go to Medium and you search Impactoverse, you should find our blog, and it's the first post there. Ta-da! And we're right on time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We really did want for this to be a speed date, just, quick, punchy bits of info, which just help in some way to think about how it is that you can do things differently if you're not already doing it, in that way, or improve or do things better, align with different organizations to do more. And also, just feel free at any point in time to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help and to support, to look at ways of actually building in some of that impact, looking at your cause marketing and your strategies. Taylor's phenomenal at that, so I direct all of that to her. Yeah, we're here. So I know that I think it's Emmy who's joined as well. Emmy, are you here? Hi. If you wanted to say a quick hello and just what it is that a little bit of background and what interested you about this topic, and got you to join up with us, which we're really grateful to have you. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I saw your post, Nolene, about Impactoverse. I was curious about what it was about. I have an agency called the Brand Building Shop, and we work mostly, we work from the perspective of storytelling with nonprofits. We help them build their brand as a nonprofit from the strategic storytelling point of view. So we are maybe what we do is like super niche, but I felt that in this meeting, even though I got late, I've already got a lot of great information to get a broader perspective, so that when we do our very specific task, we can do it with a full perspective of what's going on and see how we can improve the relationship between brands and nonprofits from the storytelling point of view.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that it's brought value.
Yeah, thank you so much for that quick summation. It's nice to meet you, and Kayla. And the way that you just put all that together made me, I got chills, because that was exactly the point of this, and that you picked up on that. I really am grateful. So thank you.
And it's really good timing, because people are nervous about where they're going to spend their money and how they're going to invest their marketing dollars. And, this is going to give them some direction on how to make a meaningful program with storytelling and building trust and building these relationships with customers and employees, I might add. All these things really help with a corporate employee retention. If they feel that their employer is trustworthy, then they're likely to stay.
That
Yeah,
is such a good
absolutely.
point, and we're going to add a slide on that because you're exactly right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the research is backing that employees are actually choosing to apply to companies that have a better reputation for impact, and leaving roles, and some, you know, even personally, I know people who've left roles without actually knowing what they were moving on to because they wanted to work for someone and towards something that had a greater purpose. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so Carla, if you want to close off for us, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll be seeing a lot more of us.
Yes. So yeah, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. Again, you can, our contact information, it's Kayla@impactoverse.com or NoleneM@impactoverse.com, right? And Gary, you have my other emails, so it's fine. Yeah, we're here for you. We're doing lots of hand holding this first. I'm in my very crowded kitchen because it's the best light. Anyway, making it work. Yeah. So the one thing, kind of interesting thing is, this is where I'm in Mexico City, Nolene's near London, and Gary's in Austin. And where are you, Emil?
In Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, so it's a global effort, and that's what I love about it too. Okay, any questions? We're all good.
Just
Okay.
grateful.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, be in touch and let me know if you think of anything later, and we're here for you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Oh,
Take
and
care.
I'm sorry, and this will be recorded on the website too, so you can come back and watch it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.